Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be changing the fuel filter on my 2000 Honda Prelude. Trying to make it as simple as possible and as fast as possible. That's the fuel filter down there. And trying to get the flashlight so you can see it. I have the new filter right here. I decided to go with a K&N filter because I needed to replace it and I just felt comfortable buying a K&N filter. So you can see it has a flare nut on the bottom and it has another one at the top. So what we're gonna do, first thing is the car hasn't been turned on. So what we're gonna do is spray some WD-40 on that and try to spray some WD-40 on the bottom and just let it sit for a little bit because it is pretty rusted. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. Alright guys, so what you're gonna do is come to the driver's side, open up the fuse box here and look for the fuse. The fuse is the fuel pump fuse right here, 15 amps. Let me see if you guys can see that. There's two of them. So I already found out which one it is, and it is this one up here. So I'm gonna take that out, and that should disable the fuel pump from coming on. You should crank the ignition to release some fuel pressure, and then after that you should be able to take off the fuel filter. Alright, so as you can see, we're working with a really tight space. I tried to use a socket for it, but I wasn't able to get it out, so I got a 17 wrench, and I'm going to use a trick. As you can see, there's a very uncomfortable, very tight space to break that nut free. Alright, so the technique that worked for me just now is I was able to break it loose. I was able to get my hand in through here. I didn't want to brace against the brake reservoir, and I was able to loosen it. As you can see, it's loosened. I already smell the fuel coming out, and I should be able to take it off. One thing that I forgot to put under was a tray for any fuel spill, so you should always do that. And just in case you can't remove the fuse, you can always disconnect the battery just in case. So I'm gonna finish taking this off and then go to the other one on the bottom. Alright, also one thing I forgot to mention, this ratchet is on the clip that holds the fuel filter in place. As you can see, it's a 10mm. I'm gonna get it on, take that off, and it'll be easier to turn the filter as well. Alright, so hopefully you guys can learn from my mistake. The entire time I was thinking it was loosened this way, but that's how you tighten it. The way you loosen it is this. So it broke right away. So as you can see, I was able to remove it. Yeah, it's pretty rusty. As you can see, I was getting a misfire. This is one of the causes. I don't know if it's if the fuel at least looks clean inside. So I did use a fuel cleaner, but just replace the filter just in case. You can see all the rust and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So that's why we're changing it. Another thing that you might forget is that there's shim. This little gasket goes on the upper fuel line. I'm gonna show you where it goes. This is the bottom of the fuel filter. This is the top. This shim goes just like that. So when you install the new filter, just make sure you put this one or use a new shim. Most likely a new shim, but in my case, this one looks pretty good condition, so I'm gonna just reuse this one, and I also don't have another one, so that's why I'm reusing this one. Just take this plastic cap off and just be able to get take this off and just put it back in. You get the idea. Put this one on the old filter just so the fuel won't come out from the bottom, and now your filter is basically ready to go. Just remember to put that shim back on the upper thing. So we're gonna start from the bottom, make sure the flow is correct. So obviously from seeing it, you can tell this is the top and this is the bottom. But also just double check, and as you can see, it says flow. Okay, focus. As you can see, it says flow right there, so it's gonna flow. This is the bottom, this is the top. The flow goes from the fuel tank to the fuel lines, to the injectors. So the injectors are up on the top, so this goes facing up, and this is the bottom part. Alright, one of the first things you're gonna want to do before you even put the filter in the clamp, it's kind of in the clamp, but it's sideways. You're gonna want to get the fuel line, the head of it inside the filter first. You can't really see it, but trust me that it's in there. That way, when you just need to tighten it, it's a lot easier, because the unthreaded part of the fuel line is already inside the filter. So just make sure you line it up here, make sure it stays in. That way, when you get to tighten it, it's a lot easier. If you tighten this first, the clamp, it's gonna make it a lot harder, because the filter's not gonna be able to move. So now that that's in place, you can tighten down the clamp. After you're done with that, you can at least try to get the first threads from the bottom line, thread it in by hand, and that way it'll be easier to just tighten the line. Alright, so one of the problems I'm having is that the line, as you can see, right under the brake line, hopefully you can see, the line goes on the top, where the hooks are. And, let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see that. It goes in right there. But the filter, the hooks aren't spread apart evenly. So what I did was I took some pliers and just moved it ever so slightly, each side to its own, one to the right, one to the left, to see if the fuel line fits. As you can see, let me see if it at least is able to catch a thread. What you're gonna want to do is cycle the ignition off and on again. So I just did it one time. Do it again. Prime the fuel system. You can hear it. That's the second time. Third time. And I'm gonna check if the fuel filter is leaking now. As far as I can tell, it's not leaking. Trying to see for leaks. Obviously, just make sure that you're not looking at the fuel that spilled when you took off the original filter. And engine is running. These spots was when the fuel spilled from before, and you can see they're dry. There's nothing coming off from the top. That's how you replace the fuel filter on the Honda Prelude. I hope you like this video, and if you want to see any more maintenance videos or build videos, I upgraded my brakes, so you can see that video and other maintenance videos too. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.